On this part, you'll learn how to load the posts from the database using the AppDbContext. For that, let us go to Visual Studio. In here, for the home page, we have created the HomeController. So let us go to the HomeController. Inside the project, controllers, we have the HomeController, and this controller does have just a single method which is used to render the view. Now, inside this method, we are going to now load all the post data from the database, and then on the next part, you'll learn how to pass this data from this action to the view and render them. Now, for us to be able to get data from the database, we need to use the AppDbContext, because right now that is the only service or class that we can use to interact with the database. So for that, we need to create a reference. We need to inject it in the constructor and then use it down here. For that, let's just type in here private read only and then AppDbContext, and let us name it just _context, because per coding definitions, if the class field is private, then it needs to start with an underscore. Then let us inject the AppDbContext in here, AppDbContext, let's name it just context, and then down here let us set the value to be _context is equal to context. So right now we have access to the file, which means we can use the properties or the DB sets inside the file to access tables in the database. Now in here, let us just type var all posts, and then we are going to use the context.posts and then to list. So this is basically how you load the data, or how you load all the table data from the database. Context, then in context I want to use the posts DB set and then to list. Now to convert this action to an asynchronous action, you can just type in here public async, and we said that next we need to wrap inside a task the return type. Return type is going to be iActionResult, so task, then iActionResult, and then optionally, if you want, you can also name this as index async. I'll just leave it as index, and then down here await and then to list async. Now let us just put a breakpoint and see if we get any data from the database. Just run the project. So we reached the breakpoint. Let us just check the all posts. We have 2 posts, and for these posts you can see that we have the content, we have date created, date updated, ID, image URL, number of reports, user, and user ID. But we can see that user is null. In our website, we want to show the users, because if I just continue, whenever we load the post, here at the top, we want to show the user who created the post profile picture and also the full name. So let us just go back to the controller. And then here, to also include the post users, you just type .include, and then you define the navigation property. And for the user, we have defined the user navigation property. Let's just save the changes. Let me just start the app one more time. And now we reach the breakpoint, so let us just check the values. Then in here, and then here. And now you can see that we have the user data. When the code with the include is executed, then the entity framework is going to convert that code to an SQL readable code by using the left join. And that's why we are able to see like the posts and also the users. But when you use it without the include, it's just a simple select all from posts. So basically the include in here just adds a join between the posts and the user. On the next part, you'll learn how to pass this data or this information to the view.